Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams, hope you're having a good day today. Got a great lineup, kind of a fun group of folks here today. But more importantly, some great things to talk about. Andy Dunow is going to be here. He's floating down the river, doing all kinds of things, and an STO contributor. Mary Cooney is going to kick it off here. She's a Spokane County Commissioner. She kind of got there through appointment and a few other things. We'll talk about that. That should be interesting. And Michael Cathcart from Better Spokane, trying to make our Spokane area better for everybody, especially the business community. And he's an STO contributor. Connor's calling the weather next on Spokane Talks Live.
Hello Spokane, this is Connor from Spokane Talks Online with your 5-day weather forecast. Today looks to be partly cloudy with a high of 53 with a low of 34. Tomorrow looks to be mostly cloudy with a high of 54 with a low of 35. Thursday looks to clear out with a bright and sunny skies with a high of 62 and a low of 38. Friday, some clouds will move in and it will be partly cloudy with a high of 62 and a low of 44. Saturday will bring a slight chance of rain, but it's going to be mostly cloudy with a high of 56 and a low of 35. Thank you for listening in. Have a good day.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com. Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams, hope you're having a good day today. Mary Cooney, County Commissioner. Now, you just came in from the outside. Is it snowing out there?
It is not, thank goodness.
Okay, all right. You start to worry about that a little bit. The weather forecast this morning was a little bit of rain and snow maybe today. And, of course, I had to hit the button and say something to Leslie Lowe at KHQ. And she pointed out and reminded me I'm just the messenger. But I still want her to fix it. I think, it's time for spring.
It is time for spring. It
really is a time. Okay, you've been a county commissioner for how many hours or days now? It's been a couple months, hasn't it?
It's been just about 6 months.
Has it really?
So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. For those that don't know, let's talk about, because I think this is kind of interesting, that when Shelley O'Quinn left and then gave notice and made it public and so forth, then the County Republican Party, through their, I don't remember their
central committee, the
central committee,
county party,
sit down and vote on a couple of folks that they can send to the county commission, who's remaining, to make a decision. And then that happened. You, John Garisco, and Rob Chase.
Correct.
Right, were the three. And then there became the dueling commissioners, if you will, because one for you, one for Rob, and when you only have two, even in my old math, I know that's a tie. Okay, so what happened then?
So what happened then is, as it went to the commissioners, we all requested people to send in information and emails and letters to the commissioner's office, and they had 60 days. And in that 60 days, they didn't make a decision, so it automatically triggers it going to the governor at that point in time. Right. And the governor then has like at this point, I can't remember how many days. It's at least 30 days.
Yeah.
But luckily, he quickly made that decision. But again,
because this could go on forever.
Yeah, and the process was still kind of the same, where we, encouraged anyone who wrote in letters on my behalf to send in letters to the governor's office or to call the governor's office. There was a gentleman, Keith Swenson, who's in charge of the boards and commissions for the governor, and so he kind of handled all of that.
Okay.
So when I actually got the call from him saying that I was appointed, that the governor had chosen to appoint me, he said, I have not had as much support for you as any other candidate. I mean, it's like you blew everybody out of the water.
Wow.
So I like to say that the community appointed me.
That's great. That's great. So now 6 months in the job,
Yes.
I got to ask, what's the first thing you've learned that really surprised you?
Land use issues.
Oh, the fun things.
Oh my goodness. Literally, my first day on the dais, and a lady comes up to me and introduces herself and says, we need to talk, and it was land use issues.
Oh, boy.
I just, having worked for the county and audited all of those different things, that's the one side that I just had no idea how contentious those are.
Well, and with your husband having a construction company, have you heard over the years bits and pieces, probably some swearing once in a while,
Yes.
now and then? And so did you go into it thinking, well, maybe I can help fix this a little bit?
Yes, I think that was part of it. Partly my mother-in-law, they've had issues up, she lives out on the old Palouse Highway, and she's like, you're going to become one of those people that I'm going to go yell at? And I'm like, well, I hope you're not going to yell at me, but I will be listening.
I want to be there when that happens.
Exactly. I said, no, I want to be the person that's there listening to help provide that reasonable voice to that. So, and yeah, with land use issues, there's condemnations that happen, eminent domain, the family construction business had that happen for the North-South Freeway. So,
Yeah.
so I understand it from both sides.
Yeah, and I think part of it is listening and not and not closing it down, but listening to all sides, and then trying to come to a rational and reasonable conclusion.
Yeah.
Because people have had property for a while and they want to develop it, but then where is it compared to? I mean, there are just so many things that can enter into the mix.
No, and I'm finding we just had a meeting up with the Glen Rose Association.
Okay.
And there's the potential for the soccer fields next to it. That they're not wanting to have happen. And so I'm.
What do they want? High-rise construction? I mean,
they want to keep it rural.
Yeah.
So they'd rather not have that. And so we don't even have permits on that yet. It was permitted, years ago for when it was the baseball fields.
Right.
But what I did is I took up our planning director, our parks director, and our county roads engineer, so that way we could all present to them as to what's happening in the Glen Rose area.
Okay.
And inform them instead of just having it be, contentious. And so I think people were able to get their questions answered in a nice manner. And there's still, questions we can't resolve.
And sometimes it's, well, we can't do this because the regulations require us to do that.
Yes.
And I get the idea that you want something to happen as a homeowner or developer or whatever, but then you also have to fall within the law and the regulations as well. And sometimes it's not really pleasing to some parties, right?
No, very true. And we have the process with the Planning Commission that it goes through and all of that. But we were able to provide some, if they're concerned about lighting and all of that for the field, that maybe we can take a look at the lighting ordinance and update that's some things we can look at to try to help them.
One of the things commissioners get assigned to are lots of committees.
Yes.
Have you found that out yet?
I have found that out.
Does that take up about 7 hours a day, just going to various commissions and committees and so forth? And what are some of that you're on that you really enjoy?
So Mondays and Tuesdays we're in the office, doing county business, and then on the rest of the week we're on all those boards and commissions. One that I'm on that I'm enjoying is the health board.
Okay.
So as soon as I got on, being the CPA, then I got roped into being the chair of the finance committee, which then puts you on the executive committee. So suddenly,
Lord.
one meeting a month turns into 3.
Of course.
But it's a passion of mine, and
Why? Why is that a passion of yours?
well, I'm I was an auditor before, a state auditor, and so I'd audited the health district before.
Okay.
And I'm very involved with kids in our community.
Okay.
And so the health of our community to me is very important. And it really stems from what the health district can do to help us to make our community healthier. And to me, that it provides safety as well.
Yeah. What other committee or council are you on?
So Martin Hall, which is a contentious issue.
Yes.
So that's another one.
What was that like the first time you went and visited?
It was very interesting going into Martin Hall. I'd never been there before. Hadn't even seen the facility.
Right.
Everyone says it kind of looks scary, which it does. It's an old brick building, out by the Eastern State Hospital.
It's not necessarily the kids with best behavior there either.
No, it's not.
And I'm not trying to taint them all as bad kids, but there's a reason they're there.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, there is. And it's a lockdown facility. So it's just, as someone who's not used to a lockdown facility, it's very interesting. And comparing that to, our jail, I mean, it's very, it's very similar, with the facilities.
So now you were appointed
mm-hmm.
with about a year until the election, which is now this coming fall, actually, the primary. I haven't heard of any opponents yet, have you?
Yes, I have.
You have?
I have. Rob Chase has filed.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So, no.
I shouldn't say this, but I just kind of discounted him, but that's a whole other issue. I'm as conservative as they come, but he's, I think, way out there. And that's just me. And my show, so I can say what I want. But are there others out there?
There was a gentleman just recently who came up to me on Saturday and said he might be.
Okay.
But we have to wait till filing week.
And that's only about 3 weeks away or so, isn't it? Can you believe here we are again?
It's getting close.
Yeah. What will be the one or two main issues that you'll focus on, that you're focusing on now because you're in the job, but you will continue to focus if elected?
So public safety is number one to me. I think, we all believe that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a strong public safety, you don't have a strong economy.
Right.
Because people won't want to live here.
Exactly.
They won't want to stay here. And so that's why public safety to me, when people want to talk strong.
So how's our sheriff doing?
He's doing great.
Okay.
No, Ozzy and I get along very well.
Yeah. No, he does a program here every Thursday morning.
Oh, very good.
So, and it goes up to the radio station, and then we put it on our website. I know he's got a kickoff coming up a week from today.
Yes.
Yes. In fact, we're going to be there doing a video of the kickoff, so that'll be kind of fun. It'll be our first TV of Ozzy's Sheriff's Report after next Tuesday. So,
very fun.
Safety, obviously, and that really is important.
Yeah.
Because we as parents and grandparents want to feel safe. We want our kids to feel safe and our families to feel safe. What else is on the agenda?
So, and then, like I said, that drives the economy.
Yes.
And so economic development is a big part. And so just in a recent situation with the Spokane Valley with the Barker Road grade separation, I was speaking up on behalf of them, for that roundabout on there. Because, there's potential.
We got to be able to move.
Yeah. You got to be able to move, and to have those companies out in that area, you got to have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And so that's a big deal. And then, to me, it's that efficiency within government.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the silos that have been there in Spokane County for a long time. And our first board retreat, talking about budget in January, I went to, and I said, the word silo has to come out of our vocabulary.
Yeah.
We've got to figure out how to work together.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of ways that I'm already doing that, and that's what I want to continue to do.
Good. Well, are you looking forward to the campaign? As much as anyone can look forward.
As much as anyone can.
Okay. What I detected in that was I just want to serve, Ken.
I do.
And this election stuff, I get it, and we have to do it, but I want to serve. Am I reading you correctly?
You are very right.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, Mary, I hope you'll come back. I know we have the Meet the Candidate series that will come up. We'll start shooting those in the first week of June, and you and whoever else might be declared against you will also come in, and we look forward to doing that and having you on board and keep up the good work. And I don't hear the complaints from the county side on potholes that I hear about the city.
Very good.
So you've dodged that one so far.
Yay.
All right. Well, Mary, nice to meet you for the first time. Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
The economy is getting stronger, banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Is your child having trouble coping with a personal disability, but don't know where to go? Consider our friends at Breakthrough Incorporated. Breakthrough takes great pride in mentoring their DDA clients who have intellectual disabilities and their BRS clients who have challenging behaviors toward the creation of safe, appropriate, ethically sound life goals. They integrate programs at school and home to enrich their lives. They work hard to make a positive difference in you and your family's lives. Breakthrough provides a highly structured, fully staffed residential setting in local neighborhoods, 6 in Spokane and 2 in the Tri-Cities. Diagnoses affect people differently, so their service to each resident is unique, giving them the opportunity to grow and evolve. For more information on Breakthrough, visit their website at breakthroughincorporated.org.
You're really doing it. You're ready to buy a house. You know what you can afford, you've got a pre-approval letter, and you and your partner haven't killed each other yet. Now's the fun part. First, think about your main requirements.
Location,
house type,
square footage,
number of beds and baths,
garage,
property age.
Then think about specific features.
Waterfront,
Pool,
local schools,
neighborhood safety,
walking distance to parks,
proximity to a decent Turkish bathhouse.
HO.
From there, input all your search criteria. Min and max prices, number of beds and baths, single fam, multifam, condo, co-op, villa, townhouse, farm, whatever. You can even draw your own custom search around the neighborhood you want. The open house is the most fun you can have in real estate. It's like having carte blanche to walk into a total stranger's house and snoop around while they're not there. Here are a few pointers. First, feel free to step in without knocking or ringing the bell. Unless you see a note saying otherwise, in which case, yes, knock and/or ring. It's generally considered good open house etiquette to wait until a group of buyers leaves a room or area before entering.
What we were talking about. Let's check it out. I know, so.
Listen to what other buyers are saying. They may know something about the property or neighborhood that you don't.
I bet they don't even know they have this.
Oh, no. Ask questions about the house, how long it's been on the market, the school district, the property taxes, but keep it cool. Don't give yourself away by sounding too excited.
And the schools in this area are incredible. Woo! They're actually building a brand new one 3 blocks away. What? And it should be open in the middle of next year.
Yeah! Please do not steal. Finally, if there are snacks or refreshments, do not take them. It'll skew your perspective. Unless they're mini quiches. Those little are tasty as hell.
Paid work to do.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here. Hope you're having a good day. It is what is today? The 17th of April. It's tax time. Think about that when you write your check today, everybody. It'll be better next year. Honestly, it will be better next year. Andy Dunow, you just wear a bunch of hats, which usually covers the bald spot back.
There you go.
I got a note from you.
It's going to be like that today, huh?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
I got a note from you this morning saying, I shaved today. I thought that was, and you put a tie on.
I gave you the homeless look the last time.
You put a tie on. How fancy can you get for here?
I don't know. But
I don't even have any ties
I found
anymore.
out that it's a little tight around the neck. So
yeah, well,
you might not be seeing the tie unless I lose some weight.
Andy, one of the things that you're really involved in is our Spokane River, that beautiful thing that comes all the way from Lake Coeur d'Alene through Spokane and into the Columbia, but through downtown. And a lot of things going on, and some of the controversy or discussion recently has been on the of what to wear in terms of safety issues and so forth. And so I'm not up on it. Why don't you bring our audience kind of what the discussion is and what regulations are being proposed and what that means.
Okay, so to give you a little bit of context,
Yeah.
Since 2010, we've worked with partners to develop and restore 12 water access points on the Spokane River. So if you go out there on any nice summer day, you see more and more people out there on the river, and it's the last great free resource, natural resource out there on the river. So people are out there and they're enjoying it. We're really proud of it. We do a lot of stewardship. We do a lot of restoration work and all the rest of it out there. But
now when you say we, what is the organization?
So the Spokane River Forum has coordinated all of this, and we work with Northwest Whitewater Association, Spokane Canoe and Kayak Club, City of Spokane, Valley Spokane County, City of Spokane, on and on. The list goes, REI, Mountain Gear.
Great.
We've really put together quite the coalition of organizations to get people out there and enjoy it. One of the things I say is, we've invested over $500 million in the river with clean water treatment.
Yes.
So we might as well let people go out there and enjoy the resource. And they are.
And we really have, as a Spokane community, led the nation in cleaning up our river.
We've done a terrific job.
Yeah. It's been a pain at times to drive around.
That's right. Well,
But the end result will be that we won't be dumping all of the drainage water directly into the river like on overflows.
Exactly. And you can look at cities across the country. Cities which are reclaiming harbors and shorelines are dynamic.
Yes.
They're moving forward. It's what people expect when they move to a town. So it's right where it needs to be from an economic development and an environmental perspective. So anyway, with all of that, we want people out there and enjoying it safely. So we've been making major safety pushes all along.
Okay.
It's very unclear.
As much as we like our fire rescue and all of that, we don't want to have to use them, do we?
Absolutely, because it's expensive.
Well, and it's dangerous for them, too.
It's dangerous for them. So, years ago when I was talking with one of the city's first responders, I was asking him about PFDs, and he said, here's the bottom line. We don't pull people out of the water with PFDs. The people who die are the ones who didn't have a PFD on.
Okay.
It's just that simple.
PFD is personal
flotation device, a.k.a. life jackets when you and I were growing up.
Yeah.
So we are big proponents of PFDs.
Okay.
They are like seat belts for cars. They're like helmets for motorcycles.
It's called common sense.
It's called common sense. And at some point you get to a public safety point where it's like everybody needs to do this.
Yeah.
And I've personally seen a young family take their 5 or 6 year olds through the Devil's Toenail Rapid without a PFD, and it's like you hold your breath and you pray. And you're thinking
and then, of course, the parents think they don't need it. Because,
exactly.
Even if they got their kid.
That's right. So if you're having a bad luck day, you might get pulled out alive and you might not. Yeah. So with all of this going on, Councilman Beggs decided that he wanted to write a river ordinance. Okay. And what he did was the classic Seattle Light Spokane thing. He went over to the west side, pulled the ordinance off the shelf, dumped it in front of everybody. Yeah. And this was last August. And I read it, and I sent him a nice email, and his aide a nice email, and I said, okay, here are the list of stakeholders you need to pull together.
Yeah.
This thing is filled with stuff which does not apply to the Spokane River. And I thought they had listened because basically I never heard about it again. Well, the election happens, and all of a sudden, there it is again. So a couple of stakeholders go to a meeting, and they hadn't changed one word since last August. And they pointed out all these things which make no sense. Right. Yeah. All we want is an ordinance saying there's a fine if you don't wear your PFD, so we can put it on the signs and enforce it if we need to.
Right.
Okay. Or do emphasis patrols. So as recently as yesterday, they say they've made vast changes. So Paul Delaney from Northwest Whitewater Association, you can look at this. He's marked it up. All the things which are completely non-applicable. So they haven't changed anything. So we're right back to where we are.
Is this laziness? Or is
no,
this,
what I've decided, it's the difference between a preacher and a listener.
Okay.
I really believe that Councilman Beggs is a preacher.
Okay.
He's not a listener.
Okay.
Okay, it's that simple. So when you go through the latest version of it, if you want to know about buoys, moorings, sailboats, ski docks, hovercrafts, navigation lights, boat liveries, and discharging sewage from your motorboat into the river, this ordinance is for you. Unfortunately, none of this applies to the Spokane River, right? There's only one little piece from Pleas Flats to 9 Mile down. This is an attorney. So then we get to his quotes in the newspaper, which...
Honestly, if I had hired someone to do that, I would be suing for malpractice.
Well, so what he says in the newspaper is You know, he's totally right. It needs to be really simple and straightforward, but that isn't how city ordinances work. No, city ordinances cannot be simple and straightforward. They have to be detailed and defensible in court. Well, I fail to see how details about something which could never happen on the Spokane River,
Like a sailboat.
needs to be in an ordinance, much less defensible in court. And so, you know, what he says, when you're writing an enforcement type regulation in the code, you don't want to leave loopholes for lawyers to exploit. Well, if there are no motorboats or sailboats on the Spokane River, there is no loophole to exploit.
Andy, how come you and I can figure this out?
Oh, no, it gets
and
better.
An attorney
No,
can't?
I'm just getting started. It gets better. I know he's
Can we
made
order lunch in, please?
vast changes in direct response to Delaney's concerns. Paul Delaney just sent me an email this morning. No can do. All right. But then we get to my piece de resistance.
You practice all day. saying
You know, that's true. You know, that's that East Coast, you know,
Yeah, I
elitism
know.
coming out. You never know when it's going to come out. Additionally, aligning city laws with state laws is generally speaking good legal policy. Now, I just went through a campaign where the Fair Election Ordinance and before that the Sick Leave Ordinance, the Progressive City Council said, you know, state law does not go far enough. When state law does not go far enough, the city has to go above and beyond state law. So state law doesn't necessarily apply to the city of Spokane when we don't think
when
it's...
you don't want it to.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we have a situation where state law must apply to the city of Spokane, even though it has nothing to do with the circumstances in the city of Spokane. This is cheap, sloppy, legalistic thinking. Okay, if he wants a Trump,
But not the first time we've seen this kind of thing out of.
No, it is not. And the last thing I'm going to say about it is, you know, you probably noticed that Ben Stuckert has announced that he's running for mayor.
After announcing a year ago and then
Correct.
denouncing it, and yes.
But to me, there's a real simple bottom line here for President Council Stuckert. At what point do you look at somebody on city council and say, this is not prime time material? Because if you want to be mayor, you need to be able to look at your progressive colleagues and say, not prime time.
Yeah.
And to me, it really comes down to the people of Spokane are going to have a pretty straightforward choice in their selection for mayor.
I think you're right.
Do they want to put both branches of government in the hands of city progressive elites?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because until Stuckert can show me that he's willing to look at somebody on that city council and say, this is not good work, progressive or not, this is not good work, get it right before you bring it to us, then we're in danger of having an election where we find out what happens when you put both of those branches of government in the same hands.
It's scary.
So I really, you know, the one thing I do want people to know is nothing horrible is going to happen with this because it just doesn't apply, okay?
Yeah.
There is something in here about PFDs in the ordinance. I did find it a little bit surprising when I read it again this morning. So it's a city ordinance, but it says, by mutual agreement between the city of Spokane and the county of Spokane, it shall be enforced by the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. How much you want to make a bet the Sheriff's Office hasn't really read what they've signed up for here?
I wouldn't put my
And if I brought Ozzy in here, what do you think Ozzy's going to do? Is he going to
I'll
put a
ask
whole
him
bunch of
Thursday morning.
sheriffs, first responders down to be enforcing PFD laws in the city of Spokane?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's just not well thought out, and we deserve better.
We do.
We want people out there on the river. We want them enjoying it. We've got a couple of very exciting projects, one of which we hope gets constructed down at Glover Field this summer. The city, I just want to be very clear, the administrative units, the utilities departments, and the Parks and Rec and whatnot have been great to work with.
Good,
So I
good.
am not beating up on the city of
Right.
Spokane and what they're trying to do for the river. And the mayor's been doing good stuff with CSO tanks and the rest of it. This is
But
just
our leadership, our elected leadership is our problem.
we do ourselves no good
Yeah.
when you do not listen to stakeholders.
Yeah.
Do.
Andy, thank you. You're going to come back in the beginning of May and talk about some
We're going
big
to talk
things.
water at the beginning of May.
All right, great. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Today, I will spark an idea.
Today, I'll help a student uncover the mysteries of DNA.
Today, I will nurture creativity.
Today, I'll help someone figure it out.
Today, I will protect our future by digging into the past. Today, I will build a business that makes learning fun.
How will the future look?
What will we discover?
Invent.
Create.
Will we find ways to revive our planet?
Develop meaningful, high-paying jobs.
When most of those jobs don't even exist yet.
It'll happen because
we'll be the ones to invent those jobs.
It starts with better skills in math and science.
Engineering.
Technology.
And the arts.
It takes a willingness to try.
And fail.
And try again.
Because great things never happen on the first try.
Some communities are defined by geography.
Ours is defined by a vision
that encourages everyone
to develop a passion for learning.
It happens when high school freshmen learn college-level science.
When a teacher learns robotics.
When ideas are sparked with play.
By providing the tools to tinker.
And the space to create.
And our future gets better when we learn from our past.
I'm Randy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Lexi.
She's Barb.
He's Marty.
We're all connected by a credit union
that's invested in our community
for over 80 years.
Supporting teaching, learning,
and creating.
To make sure your future
and mine
are here for good.
SDCU, here for good.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.
Is your child having trouble coping with a personal disability, but don't know where to go? Consider our friends at Breakthrough Incorporated. Breakthrough takes great pride in mentoring their DDA clients who have intellectual disabilities and their BRS clients who have challenging behaviors toward the creation of safe, appropriate, ethically sound life goals. They integrate programs at school and home to enrich their lives. They work hard to make a positive difference in you and your family's lives. Breakthrough provides a highly structured, fully staffed residential setting in local neighborhoods, 6 in Spokane and 2 in the Tri-Cities. Diagnoses affect people differently, so their service to each resident is unique, giving them the opportunity to grow and evolve. For more information on Breakthrough, visit their website at breakthroughincorporated.org.
Welcome back, Kent Adams. Michael Cathcart, Better Spokane.
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, you're heading off to D.C. next week. Is that right? What you said?
Yeah, I'll be in D.C. for a few days next week.
Gonna shake them up there, are you?
Well, just some meetings and a conference I'm attending. So.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
All right. D.C. I've been there twice. That was enough. Anyway, a lot going on. You're the man that can kind of help us fine-tune things. One of the things that Andy and I just talked about was the ordinance of the personal flotation devices and so forth.
I thought that was really interesting what he brought up about sort of the city wanting to match what the state's doing, and then you compare that with some of the previous ordinances.
You want to match when it's good for you.
Yeah, there's not a lot of consistency there.
Well,
so.
no, yeah, well, and then the person promoting it. And speaking of that person promoting the ordinance, Brian Beggs, he's the one that he and you had an editorial.
Yes.
In the was it Sunday paper, I think?
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. And talking about bringing broadband to the masses, if you will. And I read his editorial, and I thought, okay, yeah, I get the concept that everybody should have access and so on and so forth. Sure. And then I read yours second. I'm going, yes, but who's going to pay for this?
Right.
Who's going to control the costs and so forth? It's nice to have I want a lot of things, and it's nice. On the other hand, how do you pay for it and how do you keep control? And the fact is, we know government doesn't do a great job of that.
That's right.
I mean, I'll even be critical of our armed services at times with the, $28 hammer or $2,800 hammer and so forth. But we got to have it. The armed services, obviously. But let's talk about this. What is the idea behind making this broadband public, if you will?
I think it's just a politically popular idea, and that's why it's being pursued.
Because everybody should have it?
Yeah, well, I think everybody certainly wants to have internet, and we want to make sure that the more people who have access to the internet, the better, because that means they're able to apply for jobs and educate themselves and
check into the library and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Connect with family and friends. I mean, it's a good thing for everybody to have access. The question is, how do you do it? What's the most appropriate way to do that? And I think when you look at the costs that have been spent on some of these municipal broadband systems in other communities, I mean, they have been very expensive, and the failure rate is extraordinarily high. Yeah. And so it's not clear.
Now, Brian points out to one that appears to be working, but do we really know the costs involved?
Well, we don't know how much it's going to cost, because I think the comparison he's making is to an area where I think they're serving 15,000 customers.
Okay.
Well, if you build out Spokane, that's a lot bigger than 15,000, right? Yeah. Now, I don't know how many would sign on, but certainly you're going to be trying to provide that access to a much larger number than 15,000. So I don't think that it's an apples and apples comparison.
Who's behind this in terms of doing it, going through the public? Obviously, the councilman is, but there are others. And what's in it for them?
I don't know who all is behind it. I know there are some advocates, certainly, in the community. I think you've received emails from them. I've seen comments from them online. I don't know if there's any sort of benefit personally to them or not. I'm not aware.
Okay. So what is the best approach when it comes down to it? If it's not that, what is the reasoned answer to?
Yeah. Well, look, first of all, if you haven't read both mine and Councilman Begg's
it's on the Spokesman website.
It's on the Spokesman's website. Go check it out.
Right.
Please read it. Educate yourself on the issue. It's very important. But I think one of the things I wish I could have got into further in the op-ed, I didn't have the space, is to talk about what these alternatives are that exist out there.
Yeah.
And I think that is the much smarter role for the city to play, rather than building out this fiber optic infrastructure that's going to be extremely costly and take a lot of time to actually complete.
Right.
And
what kind of other options might be created once
in
you
the
start
meantime.
in the meantime?
Absolutely.
Because
it's not future proof. There is no future proof.
I mean, you think about what we're doing with the Facebook live streaming that we did.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
I mean, things change.
They change very rapidly.
Yeah.
And so I think, and I touched on it very briefly in the op-ed, but there is some really innovative, exciting new wireless technologies to deliver internet to a broad number of people. We live in the Microsoft state, right? Microsoft has one that is really innovative. They have figured out how to broadcast wireless internet over the air, basically through the same airwaves that used to be used for broadcasting.
You can get anywhere there.
CREM and KHQ, et cetera, right? So they use the same airwaves to broadcast their Wi-Fi. They're testing it in Lincoln County right now, in a small town there. They've got other tests, I think, around the country. So there is some really cool, innovative stuff. And what we should be doing is meeting with folks like Microsoft. SpaceX is another. They're launching satellites that will deliver internet right down to folks. AT&T has a rollout of their 5G that's coming, and they're going to have basically little units that get installed on the poles, right, the electric poles, and the power lines, and they'll be able to send out Wi-Fi to people, that way, right? So there's ways of doing this without fixed infrastructure that is going to maybe hopefully allow more competition and hopefully cheaper prices, faster speeds, all those sorts of things. And so the city should be working with these folks to say, hey, how do we get you in our town?
How do we encourage that?
Yeah. We want you here. We will roll out the red carpet. What can we do? And then figure out what legally they can do to entice them to come to Spokane and test it out. I mean, we should be a guinea pig
instead
city.
of trying to create it themselves, get out of the way and smooth the path, if you will, and encourage that. And we have a council, unfortunately, so often is trying to put things in front of the path for business. And,
Absolutely.
And they seem to know how to run businesses better. I'm not sure what those might be, a pot farm or whatever individually. But, I mean, come on, folks. They aren't there doing what you and I do and others that we know. And that is showing up every day and making a business work and having then to deal with local and regional and national regulations and so forth that often slow down what we want to get accomplished, which bottom line is brings more jobs.
Sure.
I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to solve some of our social ills and so forth, it's about people having jobs. And feeling good about getting up in the morning or night or whatever hour and going to work and getting a paycheck.
Absolutely.
It doesn't get better than
priority one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So read the editorials, start asking questions.
Yep. So right, and
where does this head now?
Yeah.
Do you think?
So, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was another aspect that I just could not fit into the op-ed. So they approved a few weeks back. They approved creating this kind of advisory group that's going to research the concepts and bring back a proposal to City Council, supposedly by June. Well, if you read the resolution they approved to create this working group, it's a very narrow focus. Basically, they are to research how the city can use fiber optics to create a municipal broadband system.
Not whether.
Not whether. Not
alternatives.
Not what are alternatives.
Yeah.
Not what is the best way to deliver internet to the most people at the cheapest
Where's that
cost.
coming from? From Brian and the council?
I think Brian authored the resolution, but that's what it said. And I don't know if that was intentional or an oversight or what, but they should fix that and allow this working group to analyze all these alternatives.
Yeah.
Look at the broader question of how do we provide fast internet at the cheapest cost to the most people, and that should be the question they're trying to to answer. And so that's the direction the city should go is let's research this, let's be smart about it, intelligent about it, but we should be very cautious of creating a municipal broadband system because quite frankly, there are very few examples of successful municipal broadbands out there. There's some big failures. Provo, Utah was a big one. $40 million system. They sold it to Google for $1, right? Because they had to just offload it. They couldn't, it was just too unsustainable.
Someone else take over the headache.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when you create one of these systems, I mean, you're talking about marketing it and getting subscribers and, constant maintenance.
And then what does it do to the what we have out there now? Are we getting government to compete with private enterprise?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what it is.
I worry about that.
And in fact, there was one study that was done that looked at, what happens with competition if government moves in and creates its own broadband system. And they actually found that it created a scenario where the private market competitors were likely to leave because what's the point? I mean,
go
if the
fish somewhere else.
Well, if the government's creating a system, subsidizing it, they can undercut the private because they're using taxpayer dollars, potentially to subsidize. And so why would you go in and spend a lot of money on maintenance and expansions and things like that?
Right.
You would probably just sort of
get by and then leave and go somewhere else where it might be profitable.
Exactly. So if the goal is, and one of the goals they say is to create more competition, if that's really the goal, then let's think about what are the ramifications of creating the system. Does it create more competition, or is it more likely to discourage competition and leave us with one option, which is a city?
So maybe we should be making contact with our councilman.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
And asking it to excuse the pun, broaden the scope of the project so that it can include more thoughts.
Absolutely, and I think either that or just encourage the council to even they don't have to pass a new resolution, but just allow this working group to look at other aspects of this too. I think it's important. It makes a lot of sense. And the other aspect too of this is, I think under the Condon administration, they've done a really good job of keeping our utility rates steady. But go back before the Condon administration and see, you had fluctuating water, costs and trash and all these things, right? That would spike. And I mean, they were not
you had no
steady.
idea what next year was going to be like.
Right. And so if suddenly that's what's happening to your internet bill, I mean, that just doesn't work either.
Well, and then how are you going to pay for it? Because if it's going to be subsidized, you're going to pay for it somewhere, and it's got,
Yeah. Well, you look at Chattanooga, they spent over $400 million creating their system, right? Now, they have a very fast internet system, but you're going to pay a lot of money to access that 10 gigabit internet system.
Wow.
So it's, if it's not, I think a lot of people are under the misconception that if the city does this, they're going to get free internet.
Yeah.
That's not
the
way it works.
There are a lot out there who want everything free.
Well, sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind some free stuff too, but there's no such thing as a free lunch, right?
Well, speaking of no free lunches, we're out of time. Too.
Well, there it is.
That's what happens.
There it is.
We'll talk about bikes and other kinds of things next time you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I think next time I'm here, we'll be pretty close to the candidate filing. So
yes. So we're going to. Did we set dates yet on that?
I think we'll have to.
Well, we're going to need to do that because we want to do it during the week of filing and then the week after.
Yeah.
Kind of track how things going because you'll be on top of it.
Sure.
Much better every day, every hour, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, can I say one
absolutely,
quick thing?
Absolutely.
If you are somebody who is pro-business, very interested in seeing the city move in the right direction, we'd love to hear from you. Go to our Facebook page, You can direct.
You have a newsletter too.
Absolutely. You can direct message Better Spokane from our Facebook page, but we would love to find and encourage really good quality candidates for future races, whether it's this year, next year, or 10 years down the line.
Right.
We want to encourage folks to be looking at running for office someday to help the city move in a better direction. So let us know if you're somebody that might be interested in doing something like that.
Yeah, you and I and others can sit and complain about some of the candidates and so forth, but we need to cultivate some good candidates that will get out there and have a business mind.
Yeah.
And that also, I think, will come from the private sector, do their thing in business and then leave and move on too.
Absolutely.
I mean, part of that citizen legislator, to me, is very important. I think that's what our founders found this country on.
Exactly.
And I think it's just important to bring and then leave and let someone else come in and so forth. So, Michael, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Okay. Be careful on what airlines you take.
Yeah, I know.
Southwest had a problem today, and Allegiant.
Yes, I saw that.
So be careful. Check your boarding pass. Okay?
I will. I'll do
right.
that.
Thanks a lot. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on Spokane Talks Live.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.
For the Inland Northwest's most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.